Hey guys, I just thought I'd do a quick video just to say a massive personal thank you to every single person that got involved yesterday to help find Mia. And also just do a quick video on exactly what happened. We're still getting crazy amounts of messages coming through of people wanting more detail, wanting to know what happened. I think there's around 1,300 or so comments over a few platforms, which we are so grateful for. And we will get to replying and responding to every single one of you, but for now, I just thought I'd just do a quick video, 10 minutes of your time, just to basically run you through everything, how we got it back, and maybe this may even help a bird owner in the future. So basically yesterday we were heading to London and we wanted to stop at our old stomping grounds for a fly. Now for those who don't know Mia, she's an amazing flyer. She is our most reliable out of the two by far. But Mia does have some downfalls. If she is out of sight at any point from us, she will stay very quiet, which isn't the best thing. You know, if this was Mikey yesterday and he was out of sight, we just have to look at a pub or a place with a lot of children or the most crowded area, or we'd hear him screaming from the top of his lungs. Mikey is extremely predictable if we can't see him. Mia, on the other hand, stays either very quiet or she could fly far. That's the thing. She's a very strong flyer, and if she is being chased, yes, she can take off further than expected. I mean, one time we actually thought we lost her. I think it was about 7 months ago. We were out flying and she was literally just in a tree staring at us the entire time, like 20 meters away from us. And there was a whole group of us searching for like an hour, and there she was just looking down, preening, having a great time. Now this location we flew at yesterday, we have been there loads of times. You know, when we lived in Wimbledon, we'd stop there 2 or 3 times a week for years and years. You know, the birds know it, they're used to it. It's a great open place. You know, you got an amazing line of sight. It is genuinely a very safe location. The crows and seagulls there have always been a little bit aggressive and quite territorial, but nothing that our birds couldn't handle on their own. Now Mia's very first fly of the day, she took off and 2 crows literally started basically trying to attack her. It looked like it was really bad. We didn't actually get a lot of footage of this at all, but I did have a very short clip of one crow really trying to get her. And it is one of those things, this time of the year it is nesting time. You know, these birds have nests, they have eggs, and they will do anything to protect them. When birds that aren't native come into their lands, you know, a big giant colorful parrot, they don't take to it too kindly. Now Mikey didn't actually fly with Mia, which is really strange, because usually on their first flies they're both very loud, they take off, they do these massive big epic flies, but he didn't want to actually go. He basically stayed with Mummy Human. Mia was in the skies for I think a good couple of minutes, and then she basically just beelined it straight out of sight, straight over some buildings with those crows still on her tail. At first, honestly, we weren't too worried at all. You know, these birds fly 5-6 days a week. You know, they love hanging out on houses and roofs and stuff like that. And we figured she'd be on a roof pretty close by. So we weren't too fussed. The neighborhood we were in, Wimbledon Village, I mean, it was literally surrounded by multi-million-pound mansions. So we felt, you know, she's in a pretty sweet, decent area. If she landed in someone's backyard, we weren't too worried someone was going to, you know, try and take her or sell her or bring her in and try and keep her. You know, rich people with nice mansions like their nice things to be kept nice. They probably don't want a macaw chewing up everything. So we were quite happy with the location. After about an hour, I think we expanded our search a little bit further. We had Mikey out trying to get him screaming and stuff as well. And we heard no calls back. And it was such a tricky area. Like Wimbledon Village, if you guys know it, it's very high compared to anything else. So even if she is flying out, everything else is below. She'd have to fly quite a way down and quite further. So there was a lot of hills, a lot of different roads. There's the Wimbledon Common, which is a massive, absolutely giant kind of green woodland area. And there's Richmond Park next to that, which is absolutely enormous as well. So we were just thinking, if we are extending the search past, you know, that 1 to 2 mile mark, the options just could have been absolutely endless. And that's when that absolute mental exhaustion kind of kicks in, as she literally could have been anywhere. I mean, flying in cities like London, there is pros and cons to this. The cons, obviously, it is very busy. There are a lot of houses, there are a lot of buildings, there's a lot of hills. But the positives of this is they are extremely populated areas, which is a really good thing in this sense. Now, the way Mummy Human and I handle this, I honestly couldn't have been more proud. You know, there's been times years back where she'd just completely break down in tears, and then there's me trying to calm her down plus make a plan, but she was so on point. I think since Baby Humans come into our lives, we have just become this absolutely amazing machine of a team, and I was just so proud of how we handled it together. She was driving around with baby human and Mikey in the car. I was walking around, but then obviously Mikey got very frustrated, so then I'd take Mikey and then, send him off on a couple of little flies. She'd keep rotating baby human between the stroller and the carrier just so she was still happy. She still needed to be fed, her nappies needed to be changed, she still needed naps. Luckily, her parents lived pretty close by, so she'd keep kind of doing trips back and forth. The parents even took her for like an hour or so, and that's something we haven't actually done before, kind of left her there. But between us, we really, really worked together to cover as much ground and make sure Mikey and baby human still were okay, because, we can't just completely forget about them when we're looking for Mia. But again, honestly, I'm so proud on how the both of us actually handled this situation. We literally just both stayed so calm with the mission in hand, and it's exactly what you need to do in these situations. You have to stay completely calm, completely focused, and get it done. After a couple of hours, we put the post out on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, just kind of letting you guys know we need your help. And honestly, we were just absolutely blown away with how many people just shared this, tagging their friends in the area, tagging businesses in the area, just pushing it as much as you possibly could. And I think you don't really realize how much people care. I mean, we've had these socials, I don't know, maybe coming up 8 years or so, and, you post a couple of videos a week, people like, they comment, but you don't really understand how many people actually care. And our inboxes were literally getting flooded with people saying, they're almost in tears, what can they do to help? And it really, really is quite heartwarming and overwhelming to know how many of you out there really, really, really were as worried as us. For some of you, Mikey and Mia have been in your lives as long as kind of our lives in that sense. We basically kept searching and searching and searching. We covered a whole massive area. Majority of this is walking. I think I clocked up over that 9-hour period 25,000 steps, which is my life record. I've never ever done that. Even at Disneyland, I only did 20,200. So that was crazy. My legs right now, I feel like I'm kind of walking on a limp when I walk, just because I'm not really used to doing too much physical activity. I kind of walk from my bedroom to my garden office to the lounge, and usually do under around 1,000 steps a day. So that definitely took a toll on my body. Later that evening, his brother ended up helping me. We were driving around, walking through the back ends of Wimbledon Common as well, just shouting Mia, shouting Mia. And I was thinking at that point, there's a very, very high chance she has flown further. If those crows were on her tail for quite a while, she could have ended up 3, 4, 5 miles away. And then it's just like, where do we even start looking? And that kind of worry sinks in. There's one thing I've always said, anyone out there has ever messaged me and you've lost a bird, especially a macaw, the first thing I say is, honestly, don't worry, you will get them back. It is extremely hard to lose an extremely large, colorful, very, very noisy parrot in a city. It really, really is. They will always show up somewhere. It's one of those things where if people see this, it isn't a normal thing you see. So most of the time you are going to report it. And even though, I'm telling myself that, there's always those 1,000 other thoughts that kind of run through your head. What if this? What if this? What if this? But as long as you keep that running through your head, you should be okay. By now, hours and hours and hours have gone by, and I think it was around maybe 9 o'clock at night. We got an email from someone named Haley, who she had a macaw as well, and her family, her partner and her kid were out looking, and we actually ran into them while we were looking. And it's just amazing when stuff like that happens. It's 9 o'clock at night, and you're out with a 5-year-old girl just walking through the woods, looking for a bird you don't even know, for people you don't even know. It really is extremely touching that stuff like that happens. We ended up linking up with them and kind of looking around, and then at about, I think it was maybe 9:15 or around then, we get a message from a guy who actually owns a macaw in this place called New Malden, which was about 3.5, 4 miles away. And he said, I just got a message from someone who has found Mia. And we were like, what? And he sent this photo through, and it's Mia sitting on this grey car. This grey car thing is hilarious. I'll get into it soon. And we were just like, whoa. This is incredible. We were just about to give up. I think the sun had set maybe around 30 minutes before, but there was still a little bit of light. When I say give up, I don't mean give up. I mean go home, sleep the night, get back up at 5 o'clock in the morning for that sunrise search. But basically, we got straight in the car. We both basically got there at the exact same time. Mia just kind of looked at Mummy Human and instantly eyes pinning. She was so, so happy. Mummy Human was in tears at this point. The amount of relief after being so physically and mentally kind of drained is really just amazing. She was actually found by a family, Sarah, Dean, and their son Ethan. Now, Ethan, the kid, actually saw me, I think, just kind of roof hopping in this area. Now, this area was 3.7 miles away. She was on a main road, basically, right outside, like a restaurant kind of takeaway place. And they saw her kind of just sitting on grey cars. And Dean actually tried to pick her up quite a few times. Now, Mia is extremely wary of strangers. She does not go to anyone. So she kept kind of trying to bite him and then flying away. And then kind of hopping back on another car and then hopping back on another car. And the three of them kept kind of following her as her movements were kind of moving around. She stayed really, really close in this area. She wouldn't let anyone kind of near her. But then photos started getting sent through of Mia appearing on these grey SUV looking type cars. And it's absolutely crazy because the car looked exactly like ours. Mikey's come to join. He probably won't stay long. Hey Mia! Where did you go last night? The family's come to join. Anyway, the car looked exactly like ours. And that's what Mia does when we're flying. Even when we're flying from home, Mia just goes and lands on our car. So anyway, this family were basically like, okay, who does this bird belong to? And they actually had a friend who had birds. They messaged him, he'd seen the post, he'd messaged us, and boom, there we go. It was amazing. We are extremely grateful for every single one of you. It was such a long day. I think 9 hours of just walking. Hey. We went back to Mummy Human's parents, wound down a bit, and then drove, an hour and a half back home. I think we got home at about 12:30. Both the birds were absolutely exhausted. We were exhausted. Baby Human had slept the whole way back, so she wasn't tired at all. And she's just found the absolute love of crawling, and she wants to crawl more than she wants to sleep. So she was up until about 2 a.m. crawling around, and that was fun. For those who wonder what we're going to do next time with Free Fly, honestly, a situation like this is rare, extremely rare. You
can't predict there'll be evil crows.
Yeah.
It's really hard to know.
The last time this happened was in 2021, and I think Mia's done, roughly 700 flights since then. So, we'll keep an eye on the skies for evil crows, but it's not going to stop us, free flying. We did have a couple of comments on would a GPS have helped. Now, that specific location, it actually wouldn't. I remember about 5 years ago, we trialed a GPS there. We basically, left it in the park and drove down, and it basically lasted about 800 meters, just because these GPSs are kind of designed for a bit more line of sight. Once again, a huge thank you to everyone out there. You guys really are amazing. We are quite overwhelmed, and we are going to get round to responding. We haven't even opened our DMs yet because there were just absolute crazy amounts of them on multiple platforms. The comments, there are literally hundreds on each post, on each platform, and we do want to get to them. We are going to reply to them. We have a few people coming around today with their birds for a hang day, so I might not be able to get round to them at this second, but I promise I will at some point this week. But I hope this answered all of your questions. Sorry this isn't a super well-produced video filled with footage and B-roll. We didn't actually take anything at all yesterday. Once you're focused and you have a mission, you kind of just want to do that and nothing else. So thank you guys again. You guys are absolutely amazing.